That's right, in today's video I'm going to be doing a crypto tier list. This is just a tier list I pulled off of tiermaker.com. They already had one pre-made for some high caps in crypto. So I'm just going to be listing these out, giving my thoughts on some of these coins, and seeing how the algorithm likes the tier list, because I know I like watching tier list videos. So if this video does really well, what I'll do is I'll make a part 2 of the low caps that I think are actually really good, and I'll put my own tier list together. So make sure you guys share this around so you can get that good alpha on the best low cap cryptos. But today we're just going to be going over the high caps. What I want to do to start this off is just go through the coins that I don't know on here, because some of these I have no idea what they are. So we're just gonna throw them here. You can clown on me for not knowing what these are, but yeah, I recognize some of these logos, don't know their names, don't really know what they do, so I cannot rank them, unfortunately. Alright, I think we're pretty good there. Oh yeah, what is that? Alright, so this too. I recognize this logo. I know this is a good coin right here. I forgot the name of it though, so I cannot rank it. So yeah, starting off here, we got Algorand. Algorand was one that really performed terribly during the bear market. This thing was down like 95%. It has a huge inflation problem. The team holds a lot of tokens. I do know a lot of people like them. They could definitely be a good play because of how far they went down, right? When you go down 95%, you only need to retrace 50% of the move to make some pretty good gains. But you know, not for me. I've heard too much bad stuff about Algorand, so that's gonna have to be a D tier for sure. Next is Arbitrum. Arbitrum's definitely people's kind of go-to layer 2. This and Optimism, and it doesn't look like Optimism's on the list, but this Optimism would be, pretty much identical to Arbitrum with what I'm going to say here. It's a good layer 2. It's new for 2023, which is awesome. You always want to get to new coins for the bull. My only problem with it is it started off at a pretty big market cap, and its utility isn't much different than other layer 2s that have smaller market caps, like Metis, and that's why you've seen Metis do a 10x, whereas Arbitrum just hasn't. So not a bad pick. I do like Arbitrum. I think they're a very solid layer 2, but I think they're just a little overvalued. So I'm going to have to just put them in C tier. Next up is Avalanche. Avalanche is one that's been pretty big in the crypto space for the last couple of years. Last bull it did really well. This bull it's been growing the ecosystem, has a whole like meme coin community now, kind of like Solana does. So Avalanche I think is going to be a mainstay. I don't think it's going anywhere. Very solid, very solid. I'm going to give this a B tier. All right, and coming up next, we got Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the coin that started it all. It's the one that has an ETF by BlackRock. So Bitcoin, very solid pick. I would not be buying it now, though. I think, the time to be buying Bitcoin was at 16K. It's just not going to have the gains that anything else is because of the market cap. But it's got to go A tier. Not too much to say there. It's Bitcoin. And coming up next, looks like we got Bitcoin Cash, which Bitcoin Cash is the complete polar opposite of Bitcoin. D tier. I don't see any reason to buy it other than because retail is probably going to buy it because they think it's a cheaper Bitcoin, but there's no real utility behind it. It's got a very large market cap for not doing anything, and that's that. It's kind of a dinosaur coin at this point. So I would not be touching that thing, but you do you. Next up, this is going to be something I think is pretty undervalued at the moment, something that people aren't really looking at, and that's going to be BNB. I think a lot of people were scared with all the Binance FUD this last year, so they just really stayed away from BNB. I do think they're a very solid chain, though. They're definitely not going anywhere. There are so many projects that build on BNB, so they're a great chain, low gas fees, very solid. I'm going to put them right up there with Avalanche. Next is Cardano. I wish this coin had a bigger ecosystem. I really, I'm a fan of Charles Hoskins. I like what they're doing over there. I think it's a solid project. Again, I don't think it's going anywhere, but just because of the ecosystem, the community is kind of slowly dying off. I don't think this is going to be a performer like it was in the last bull market, so I'm just going to throw it in C tier down here. All right, and then next up is Chainlink. This is one that I do think will be a very good performer this year. It's a very solid project that didn't really get the attention I think it deserved last bull market. I think 2024 is going to be the time for Chainlink to shine, to go into price discovery, and the fundamentals behind it are really solid. There's a good narrative for it. There's a good ecosystem for it. I'm going to go ahead and throw Chainlink all the way up into A tier. Very, very solid pick. I think it'll outperform a lot of coins on this list. Next is Cosmos. Cosmos is pretty good. I don't know too much about the ecosystem on Cosmos or anything like that. I just know that they're kind of the king at what they do. So where am I gonna rank this? I'm probably gonna do B tier. I think it's definitely, better than something like, Cardano or Arbitrum, because I think the narrative behind it is kind of more up and coming compared to, just a layer 2 or Cardano. Alright, so looks like we got Doge next. I will say, if Twitter implements Doge, this is going to go straight to S tier. But if they don't implement Doge, I think the price is going to tank. So it's definitely a little bit of a gamble. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to throw it in C tier. I think just the fact that it's a meme coin in the billions of dollars of market cap grants it a lot of risk, even though it is a layer 1 proof of work, which is cool. And there is even kind of a small ecosystem behind it. So, again, I think it's going to just rely off the Elon Musk narrative, depending on what he wants to do with Doge this cycle. So that's what you're going to have to rely on, and that's why it's just going to go into C tier. Next up, Ethereum. I think we all know about Ethereum here, not too much to say. There is the ERC 404 that is up and coming. If that is implemented sooner rather than later, and it drops the gas fees down to nothing, this might actually jump up to an S tier with the ETF narrative and everything. I think Ethereum will do very, very well this cycle. Very, very solid coin. The ecosystem is the biggest in crypto. It's not even close. The ability to stake it fairly safely and earn yield on it is really, really cool. So Ethereum, solid A tier. I would not fade Ethereum this cycle. However, I would fade Ethereum Classic. That's going to go right next to Bitcoin Cash for the same reasons that Bitcoin Cash is right there. Next up, Filecoin. I don't know too much about Filecoin. I do know George likes this coin, so it's just going to go into C tier. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's anything crazy. Probably a safe pick. I just don't know too much about it. But, I think it's better than Algorand and these two others. So definitely a solid C tier there. Filecoin. HBAR. Don't want to put HBAR down here in D tier, but it cannot go in C tier because the team holds too much of the supply. Don't really think the narrative is there for it. I mean, yeah, it's a Hedera hash graph. It's a new type of cryptographic technology, but I really just don't see it. I don't see the ecosystem for it. I don't see the development really happening behind this project. The team holds too much of the coin, as well as it's been a little bit overhyped. I've seen a lot of YouTubers, social media influencers posted about HBAR, and I just don't see the vision they got for it. I think it's overvalued for what it is. So not the bottom of D tier, but it's in there. Next up is Injective. I think Injective is going to be a main crypto this cycle. It's already performed very, very well. So I do think, if you're not in it now, you've kind of missed the train already, but this is a very, very solid pick. I do think it will probably go into the top 10 cryptos this cycle. I think it'll perform very, very well. I don't know too much about this coin. I haven't looked into it or researched it all that much, so can't really speak too much on the fundamentals behind it, but I do know it's a very, very solid pick. If you're already in the coin, that's good for you. It's going to go A tier, but again, I would not be buying it at the current moment. I think it's already up too much and the gains have already happened. It's an A tier. Actually, I'm going to have to put it B tier just because I don't know too much about the coin. I'm sure if I researched it, I'd move up to A tier. I haven't, so it's just going to chill in B tier for now. I don't want to be saying something is A tier when it's actually not too great. ICP, Internet Computer Program, I think this has been overhyped as being an AI play. I don't see the AI narrative behind it. It's going to go right next to HBAR. I think it's got the same problems as not really having a good ecosystem behind it. I just don't see it. I think the team holds too much of the supply. It's too high of a market cap for what it does. So it's going D tier. I would not buy Internet Computer Program. Although I will say this guy did perform really well at one point. So if you bought the bottom, good for you. That's cool. I'm not saying to sell your coins or anything, but I just would not be buying it now. Jasmy, this is going all the way to the end of D tier. I heard a lot of FUD about this in the bear. It's the reason I didn't buy it. It's kind of like the Japanese Bitcoin is what people were saying. The Japanese something, it's made in Japan, but I just don't I don't like this coin because I've heard a lot of bad things about the team, a lot of suspicious things going on with the supply, so I wouldn't touch it with the 10-foot pole. I think there's a reason it hasn't performed well this cycle, so I would stay away from Jasmy. It's bottom of D tier for me. I might be wrong. I might be totally wrong. It might melt faces, but that's just my opinion. Kadena, this is another one I don't really know too much about. I know it's a very solid play. George likes this coin. I'm just going to go ahead and put it in C tier, right up there with Filecoin. Not too much else to say on it. And we're going to get into my favorite coin here, it looks like. Kaspa. Kaspa is going straight to S tier, no questions about it. Kaspa is your next to Bitcoin. If you want to buy something and hold it for 20 years, Kaspa is your pick. I think it will solve everything that Bitcoin strive to do, that Ethereum strive to do. It really solves the trilemma: scalability, speed, and decentralization. It's going to have all of them. They're going to have smart contracts in 2025. It's got the security of Bitcoin. It's extremely fast. It's one of the fastest chains out there. Kaspa is easily an S tier pick for me. That's my largest bag. So if you don't know why I'm so hyped on Kaspa, make sure you go do your own research on that guy. Next is Kusama, I believe. This is another one I don't know too much about, but I don't know. It's a solid coin. I don't know if I want to put it C tier. I don't really hear too many people talking about this guy anymore. I think it's more of a kind of a ghost chain, a dead chain. So it's just gonna go D tier. I don't want to put it at the end, but we'll just. I mean, I'm not really ranking these on, first one is the best and then the last one is the worst, but just for D tier I kind of am, because I don't think these are all terrible. But that's that. Moonbeam, this one I would have put D tier a couple months ago, but there was a developer report that came out and Moonbeam is actually developing a lot. So even though it has very high inflation, I think the team holds a lot of the supply as well. They're developing, so I would not fade this one, and I think it could perform very well. I'm going to put it in C tier. Okay, so I just looked through CMC trying to find this ticker here. I feel like I know what this coin is. I just cannot remember the name of it right now. So you can clown on me for not remembering that. It's just going to go into the I don't know for now. But yeah, let's go on to Oasis Network. I do think it's a very solid pick. I think it's going to perform very well. It already has performed pretty well. So I'm going to go ahead and throw Oasis Network probably in C tier. The reason it's not higher is I just don't see anything too crazy, nothing too special about it. It's just kind of another layer one, but a very solid layer one at that. So C tier for sure. Next up, we got Polkadot, and this is one that I'm actually going to throw probably all the way up to A tier. I really love Polkadot. I think price point it's at now is very good. I think it's about to have a massive rally. I think it's got a great ecosystem behind it. There's a lot of good narratives that will come out of Polkadot with projects being built on it at the moment. So that's a very solid A tier pick for me, no doubt about it. So yeah, I like me some Polkadot. Next is Matic. This is pretty similar to Arbitrum, just worse and with a higher market cap. D tier. Quant. Quant is very similar to Chainlink, right? But it's a lower market cap and the supply distribution is a lot better. The team holds almost nothing. It was pretty much a fair launch token. This is a very, very solid pick in my opinion. Going to A tier. Next one is Render. It's in the AI space. It's one of the top dogs in the AI space, which is why I think it will perform very well. But there's no real utility behind it as a crypto project. They just used crypto to fund their company, essentially. So they got a lot of VCs in that will probably pump the token, but they're also going to dump it on you. So Render, compared to other AI plays that you could be buying like Octaspace at a much lower market cap, I'm just not a fan. I can't put it down at D tier because I do think the VCs are going to pump it more than anything here. It's definitely not a dead chain, that's for sure. I'm just going to put it in C tier, into C tier. That's where Render belongs. Solana. Solana was an amazing pick during the bear market with all the FTX FUD that was around it. If you were able to get this thing under $10, you made out fantastically. I do think at this point it's more overvalued than anything. I'm going to have to just put this in probably B tier. I don't think it belongs to go anything below B tier because it's top 10 for sure this cycle. It's a very solid pick just because of how massive the ecosystem is now. But their chain does go down a lot. They do have their problems, so it just can't deserve an A tier from me. Alright, it looks like, what is this, Stellar Luna? Yeah, I can't rank this anything higher than D tier. That's where Luna belongs. Luna did not do so well in the last bull market. I don't think it's still alive, but maybe it'll have a good resurgence. We'll see. That's just gonna be a D tier for me, for sure. Uniswap, this is another one that's just like, I don't see a big narrative for it. I do know it's solid. It's not going anywhere. It's going to be a safe pick. It's not going to have much downside because the utility is great on it, but it's more of a stable coin, right? It's not going to do anything crazy. Everything's already priced in as far as this coin goes. I'm just going to put it, C tier, whatever. Might even go into D tier, but I would say because it's very safe pick, the price isn't going to tank on you. Unless Uniswap something happens with their decks, I think it's not going anywhere, and that's for sure. VeChain, I think this is kind of a dino coin. I'm not sure how much development is really going on still. I feel like this just isn't going to be a talked about project this cycle. It's not really going to pop off like some people expect. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm going to have to put VeChain in D tier. Sure, we'll put it at the top of D tier because I do think it's a solid project if the fundamentals actually play out with what they're planning, especially over there in China. But I can't put it higher than D tier. XRP. XRP has a very similar narrative to kind of Chainlink and Quant with a much higher market cap, but the price at the moment does look kind of intriguing. It hasn't had its run yet. Usually this is the last one to go. It is the absolute king of the whole CBDC narrative, which is going to be a big narrative this cycle. I would say for current price point, just overall safety, it's got to be at least a B tier in my opinion. I think it wins out a lot of these. Will it perform the best on this list? Probably not, just because it's one of the biggest market caps on here. I just can't put it below B tier because the community is insanely massive. I do think 2024 is the year for XRP, with it being listed on all exchanges, with it winning that lawsuit. I think this year is going to be fantastic for this coin, so it's a very solid B tier in my opinion. Yeah, so that's going to wrap it up for the tier list. These are my thoughts on some of these high cap projects. Again, like I said, I hope to make a part 2 to this video where I actually dive into a lot of the smaller cap coins that I personally own and I think are very good picks. Stuff that I think will outperform any coin on this list right here. If you want those gems, definitely make sure to share this video around. As long as you guys like this video, that's what I'm planning to do. We'll make an awesome part 2. And if you think I'm wrong about any coins on this list, definitely feel free to let me know in the comments. Let me know if any of the coins down here in the I don't know section are really fantastic and I need to check them out. But that's going to be all for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe. Later.